Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charney. This is another Worcestershire church. This is another one in the Teme Valley. This is Knighton-on-Teme, and it's another Norman church. The Teme Valley is, if you'll pardon the pun, teeming with Norman churches. It's another one with a wooden belfry. It's not quite, but almost one of the wooden towers of Worcestershire. Very similar to that at Mamble, which is not that far away, really. So let's have a look around the inside and admire the beauties of the 12th century. As usual then, we start at the west end. The seating is relatively modern. There was, of course, a 19th century restoration. That big box thing, that is the internal porch. Internal porches, of course, are there. If you haven't got an outside porch, then you need something to make sure that when you open the porch, you don't get this great rush of cold air. When you open the door, you get a rush of cold air. You see here, we've got these late 12th century pointy lancets, little lancets in these deep splayed embrasures. And of course, that's to allow as much light as possible in without interfering too much with, allowing rain and stuff in. You see here we have a Norman arch and a couple of blind arcades, one either side. Just makes for a nice arrangement there. We've got a nice little font. This looks to be 17th century or maybe early 18th, but it's a bit chunky for the 18th, really. And behind us, the church warden's chest. Now, church warden's chests, of course, we've seen them before. They've got 3 locks, and the idea is they can only be opened if all 3 key holders are present. And that prevents anybody, because the 3 key holders will be the incumbent, and the 2 church wardens. That means that nobody, and no 2 persons, can conspire to alter records or to steal stuff. War memorial here, Great War, and of course the Second World War. Just the one in the Second World War, Bernard Thomas Poyner, just so many on the First World War. We move forward. Some of these windows have been opened up. You've got here, this is the Good Samaritan here, Good Samaritan window, and again this nice Norman work. Pulpit, of course, is Victorian. We have here a memorial to Ella Mary, who was a missionary to India. There she is. Just go up there, a bit closer. Unfortunately, you can't see what's behind the flower arrangement, but it's quite interesting to see these memorial. Yes, she was the wife of Mr. Randall, so Ella Mary Randall, and there we have. There's a Victorian, and there she is in her Indian outfit, because obviously if you're discipling Indians, that's what you do. There's John Cecil, and somehow Sheriff City of Bristol, died in 1697. It's very unusual to see a memorial like this to doing missionary work. And up here we have, this is the tops of medieval, this is some medieval work that has been retained. They've taken away the figures, of course. Now we're in the pulpit, so view from the pulpit. And you can see the the timber frame wall there, and behind there is the wooden tower. And then up there is a rather nice roof. So down we come again, being very careful on the steps. They're quite good steps, but still, you've got to be careful. And here we are, east end, 2 windows, and this is, you can see in the wall there, more tufa. Lots of tufa around here. Now the organ here is relatively, it's been restored 2001, but originally given in 1944, and no indication of who made it. Probably a Nicholson around here. Nice communion rails, by the way. Good communion. That is the chair for the bishop when he visits. And then here we have the piscina and the dropped sill sedilia, and the piscina is a Victorian one, a nice deep bowl and a shelf up there, and of course the inevitable hand sanitizer these days. The organ up there, and the console down there. But it's a very nice little church, and a bit close up at some tufa. Here we are. You can see this it looks like a sort of fossilized sponge because of the way it's formed around this ancient ancient moss, but it is solid stone. And back west, there's a list of vicars. It's often interesting to look at, as I say. We do find that George Benson was expelled during the suppression, i.e. during at the time of the Commonwealth. So there would have been a Puritan rector here, or Puritan vicar, and he has well, it's a Puritan curate rather, because this was part of the part of the parish of Lindridge, and it became a separate parish only in 1844. But they had a Puritan curate who was himself then ejected, and in 1661 the Reverend Thomas Roberts comes in. They don't mention the Puritan. It's all too common, unfortunately. So that is the inside here at Knighton-on-Teme. Let's go out through that porch and see the outside. So this is outside now at Knighton-on-Teme. You can see behind me that rather bizarre belfry. It looks bizarre because it doesn't have any windows or anything in it. You expect belfries to have openings, but they don't really need them in this case, because what it's clad with is simply wooden shingles. So that's how it's supposed to look. It's silvery because the shingles were renewed not that long ago, so they haven't had time to darken because of weathering. Well, let's have a look around the outside and again point out these interesting features of this very, very interesting building. So the first thing we notice, of course, is the nave. This is Norman nave, and then on the end you've got the tower with the belfry rising out of it. So it's effectively, the bottom part is stone, but the upper part is wood. And you have here this door with its blank arcading above, which is quite a, as we saw at Easton, of course. Easton, it's quite a posh, high status feature. The building here isn't, there's not as much of the tufa in it as there is at Easton, but it's a very, very nice arch here. Again, typical Norman work. Cut out there, that's where the stoop would have been, and the pilaster has been cut through by this later window. Here is the churchyard cross. Now this is a feature that is very, very unusual, and it's found really only in Worcestershire and Herefordshire, or mostly found in Worcester and Herefordshire. And this is the niche underneath. You can see it's been turned into a sundial, but this is originally the churchyard cross, and this niche would be for a candle, which on special occasions would have been lit, and there's a candle there at night, and you'd see this candle flickering away until it burned out. So that is a very, very unusual feature outside of this part of the world. And there's the Teme Valley down there. So, priest's door, and well, it's not a low side window, it's a higher window. And around the east end, the hills, of course, rise up from the valley, and we're well away from flooding here, which is very important, as you can imagine, because river valleys are here. We have some nice tufa. You can see the tufa here is just blocks. It's not like Easton, which is basically, let's make a house out of tufa, or let's make a church out of tufa. Now this side is largely tufa. Lots and lots of tufa here. Just over here is, I mentioned oast houses. This is an oast house. This is where the hops are dried. Obviously they're now, it's now done with new technology, we say, so the old oast houses are largely turned into cottages and houses. It's a nice way to do with things, actually. Anyway, there's the north door. We won't go too far out because, of course, there's the sunlight on the south side, which is a very good thing today, really. You can see there this, well, I think pilaster. It's a little decorative buttress. It doesn't do very much to hold it up, but I suspect that would be the old vicarage at the West End, because that's quite a normal place to put a vicarage, isn't it, at the West End. And again, this is mostly sandstone here, mostly local sandstone. And this is the tower. These two windows. I suspect there's refreshments and things in there, but it's kept locked, which is fair enough. If you've got things that you... And then we are back round at the west end. You can see there's the external tower door, because the other thing in the tower, there are the bell ropes, and sometimes people get tempted to pull bell ropes. You shouldn't pull bell ropes unless you know how to ring bells, because bell ropes can be very dangerous. Bells can be very dangerous if you don't know how to use them. So that is the Church of St Michael and All Angels. Oh, there goes a bush. St Michael and All Angels, Knighton-upon-Teme. And another example of how picturesque the Teme Valley is. And so there we have it, St Michael, Knighton-upon-Teme. Well, thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until next time.